Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Transformers? Here we are, heading down the path of production order of Season 2, talking about Transformers, a series of might and metal, an actual 80s cartoon classic, if you will. We're the Can We Talk About podcast. We're doing it. I love being a slave. My name is Joe.
Or do I? I'm Kristen.
And we are watching Transformers Generation 1 via Tubi, which is a free streaming platform with intermittent commercials, and Tubi has the broadcast order of Transformers, so if you watched the Immobilizer, whoops-a-daisy, you're wrong. I had to remind you, Kristen, didn't I?
Yeah, I'm glad you did, because I haven't gone to watch the episode yet. But as you reminded me, I was like, yeah, I definitely would have messed that up.
So, Kristen, across all of the various streaming platforms that are available, have you been watching anything fun other than not the Immobilizer?
Nothing in particular. Is it weird that the only thing I could think to say is that Madeline saw the Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
Okay, how did she like it?
She said it was bad.
No, which is weird because I'm hearing that people are enjoying it.
I mean, she was in a theater full of children who seemed to be really enjoying it. I don't want to get too into spoilers, but there was apparently a post-credits stinger that the kids were a big fan of.
I had seen that as well. As well that my favorite piece of Sonic lore, the Sonic drawing, made an appearance.
Joe, I'm in a complicated situation because I really like Ben Schwartz, but I don't like Sonic.
You don't have to see. You'll watch it when it's on Netflix in 2.5 years or whenever.
Yeah, I have a long list of movies I don't actually want to see that eventually I need to watch.
Speaking of, Bumblebee on Amazon Prime. Get on it. It's a good movie.
Not interested.
I watched, again, because I'd watched it a few years ago, the whole series of Blackadder, which is nice.
I remember we talked about that in one of my classes in college, History of Costume. We watched a little bit of Blackadder because their costuming department was just BBC's historical costumes that they used for actual things, so it was a good reference. And I remember being like, I don't think I love Blackadder.
It's a nice short watch because it's 4 seasons of 6 episodes. Those sweet 6-episode British seasons that you can series, if you will, if you want to be pedantic about it. Yeah, it's a nice thing that you can watch over a week, and then in 5 years you forget what happened, so you watch it again. Perfect. Speaking of, rewatch of the IT Crowd probably coming up in my history sometime soon.
That's another thing I've been meaning to watch, but I actually think I will enjoy that. Oh man, on Hulu, the What We Do in the Shadows TV series is on there. I need to watch that too.
Oh, that might be pretty good. I know I liked the movie.
I did too.
Anyway, Kristen, the episode this week, bit more on the nose than I expected.
I don't know what I expected.
I mean, an episode entitled Changing Gears, I had a feeling it would be like Gears Turns Nice, but the situation that leads to Gears turning nice is not at all what I expected to happen.
Joe, I am wondering, was I expected to know, Gears is changing, therefore he will change from ? To I don't know? Like, you say, Gears will turn nice. Was I supposed to know that?
We'll get into it here. They could have done it better. They could have waited a bit before actually changing gears, because he says maybe 3 lines, then he's just like, I'm a nice guy now.
And I'm like, okay.
A lot of weird ethical places we can go into as well with this, but it might get deep. Or we might laugh at it.
I mean, who can really say?
Changing gears. Let's shift. Changing Gears, written by Larry Parr. This is his only Transformers episode, and I wrote here, Kristen, let's hope he does better than Paul Dini. I think he did.
I didn't recognize his name, and you know what? If I can say anything about this episode up top, it is not Music is Magic.
We start, Kristen, with some hard hat men who are just the stock hard hat men who have struck gold in them thar hills.
So, Joe, do you want to take a just crazy guess of what my favorite thing about these hard hat men is?
That one of them looks almost exactly like Sparkplug?
So, that is not my favorite thing. I found that very frustrating, in fact, because I was like, when did Sparkplug get a new job? The thing that was insanely distracting the entire time, one of them just had his shirt completely unbuttoned and his bare chest out. What was up with that?
Kristen, when you're in the gold mine, when you're working in the gold mine going down, sometimes you gotta pop the shirt open because the air feels nice underground because it's a bit cooler.
What are you talking about?
Krista, don't you remember the Lackawanna coal mine tour was often a good 10 to 15 degrees colder than surface temperature because you're underground and...
Well, I
you go.
don't know how much we've ever talked about how I was afraid of literally everything as a child, but I spent most of my time on the coal mine tour, which we did do multiple times, crying, I think, every single time I was there.
Yeah, coal mines are scary.
I was not a fan. For some reason, my brain remembers it as a roller coaster, and it definitely wasn't.
My favorite scary coal mine memory was, for some reason, they put an animatronic hand buried in
I know, and it waved back and
a
forth.
roof, and it was just like, and it was like, oh, fuck, I'm gonna die down here.
Weird. After that, I remember being in the coal mine and thinking to myself, am I having trouble breathing? Is it hard to breathe down here? Years later, Joe, in an amazing twist of fate, I would be diagnosed with anxiety.
You don't say.
Isn't that crazy?
So they are pushing out, Kristen, an entire mine cart, a Donkey Kong Country mine cart, full of gold!
Just big old gold nuggets.
I'm kind of sad that this doesn't go anywhere, really. I mean, like...
Is it wrong that I was hoping Decepticons were going to take the gold?
I thought so too, but the first thing that happens is the jets arrive and Starscream blows up the entire minecart of gold.
I did a little bit of a refresher reading over the Transformers wiki page for this, and under the trivia section, I think they had the entire thing of gold explodes. Was it like golden TNT?
You know, gold, Kristen, very explosive property, very malleable, very explosive.
Absolutely. That's why you never wear gold jewelry.
You bump into a wall and you don't have a head anymore.
You know, Evil Geniuses on Netflix, it's like that.
Oh, Evil Genius was a good series.
It was very good.
The Hard Hat Men scatter at this point. One of them runs back into the mine, which I thought was stupid because Starscream basically caves the roof in behind him.
Yeah, he looks like he's gonna die. And I know we've already belabored this point. I'm almost positive the man with Sparkplug's face also has Sparkplug's voice. And I would like to emphasize how stupid that is.
Strangely missing in this episode, Kristen, Sparkplug and Spike.
I didn't even notice, but you know what? They would have just added a whole other dimension of horse shit that I couldn't deal with.
Probably. I think that one of the Hard Hat Men had Spike's voice of just Spike's voice actor not doing a kid voice, so maybe that was what happened.
I'm a little boy. That's my little boy voice. How was it?
Soundwave walks into the scene here and ejects Laserbeak, and then we see the exact same piece of animation later as he ejects Ravage because they need to go on Hard Hat Man hunting duty. There's
another little piece of trivia I found out, because I did notice a bunch of recycled animation in this episode. That animation of Soundwave ejecting cassettes is used 4 times in the episode.
4 times, yeah. Already we're stretching the budget at episode 2.
And like, Joe, I love Laserbeak and Ravage. They're good kids. Did they really need to be doing shit this episode?
Well, Kristen, when you get an image of Laserbeak breaking directly into a shack through a window, like blowing the wall open and scaring a Hard Hat Man, I think it's worth it.
That is pretty funny. Did they need to do it like 4 times?
No.
No, I don't think so either. There's a weird amount of Decepticon screen time individually in this episode for it not being necessary at all, I say as someone who loves the Decepticons.
So the roof of the mine that was almost all caved in, Ravage manages to leap in a single bound, like thread the needle through a little area that's not caved in, so he could chase after the other Hard Hat Man. And I guess nobody told any of the other Decepticons the plan, because when Megatron arrives, Starscream is like, okay, so we got one Hard Hat guy left, and there he is, and I'm gonna shoot him! And Megatron does, for the first of, I'm going to say, 80 times in this episode, backhand Starscream.
So talking about recycled animation as though it's something that I always have a problem with is not true. Because I loved watching Megatron repeatedly just smack Starscream because he makes just only bad decisions this episode. I mean, again, you could tell your people the plan before you leave.
It's almost like every single line Starscream has in this episode is predicated before him doing something that fucks up the plan.
Quick question, where do you think we are right now?
Ooh, because we're in Africa later.
Yes, we are, and I have a big problem with that, too.
We are just in, air quotes, Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Autobots get there pretty quick, so I think this is either over old California way, or...
I mean, they also drive to Africa pretty fast later.
The sweet-ass gold mines of Utah.
Mm-hmm, of course.
Megatron says that he wants the Hard Hat Man to call for help, in which case, why did they corral any of the Hard Hat Men?
Just one of them. They didn't want the others causing trouble? I don't know.
We are not going to do the transition noise for every transition in this episode because, Kristen, I wanted to die at a certain point. Because it's literally before the Autobots and Decepticons find each other, every single scene transition has bam 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 bam.
Sometimes when these many transitions are happening, I'm like, when people learn to write scripts, don't they, like, have a basic understanding of how to move from, like, one scene to another? Like, a transition once in a while, sure, it happens. You need a panning shot of San Francisco.
Several panning shots of San Francisco.
Yeah.
An entire opening credit sequence of establishing shots of San Francisco.
And then a few later for good measure.
So Optimus calls the Avengers to assemble here. Everyone's running through the hallway, other than Gears. Gears, the star of our episode here, who, Kristen, they could have given a little bit more. All Gears does, again, he's like, my shit's all creaky.
Would it really have killed us to have had the opening scene instead be a thing to establish that Gears is like an Ebenezer Scrooge type? Because here it just seems like he likes to complain.
I feel like that would have been a better idea, yeah, because the Decepticons just attacking a gold mine that doesn't go anywhere because they don't take the gold. They could have attacked anywhere, Kristen.
They really just needed Gears to show up.
To lure out Gears according to the plan, so there's no reason...
It's something on a big enough scale that they figured at least Gears would also be deployed with whoever else came.
There's no reason that they couldn't have explained away, like, wow, oh, Autobots, assemble, the Decepticons are attacking a dam!
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, okay, cool, we're there.
See, and here's another thing. Gold plan is not a dam plan. That's pretty cool. It's not even a gold plan, though.
Man, those poor Hard Hat Men, they could have had all the gold if the Decepticons just decided to attack anywhere else.
Joe, I hate to, disrupt your very rose-colored view of the world. But I don't think the Hard Hat Men were gonna get that gold.
Oh, no!
I think the people they worked for were going to get it.
No, Kristen, they were freelance Hard Hat Men.
Just going picking up their freelance gold.
With the minecart that they bought themselves.
That's a very good and appropriate analogy as to how I think most people think freelance works nowadays.
You're doing it on your own!
Yeah, you're bringing all that gold in that you get to keep and don't have to pay any taxes on.
So Gears is complaining, Kristen, oh, trouble always happens when I finally get a chance to sit down and lube my cable relays. Kristen, the guy was jerking it, and this happens. What a life.
I'm not okay with that, and I'm gonna ignore you.
Ironhide is, we gotta be all about action and not squeaking like a mouse, I guess.
Apparently synonymous with complaining. Bumblebee then does a little jog up behind Gears and does like a gymnast 10 out of 10 vault over his head. It's weird seeing Bumblebee suddenly with personality again.
I did say, Kristen, that he treats Gears like a pommel horse here.
That's a good way to put it.
And he says that it's not about the squeaking, it's about the squawking with you, Gears. Yuck, 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 yuck.
And that apparently is supposed to tell us every single thing that we need to know about Gears to make the rest of this episode work.
Optimus gives the Autobots all the details here, and they transform and roll out, and another transition. So that's literally, we spent 15 seconds with the Autobots here to establish that Gears is a sourpuss, and that's it.
And he's coming too. He's coming to hang out.
The Autobots arrive at a ravine, and we see the nice stock transformation from Optimus as well, a bit of reused animation that's in other episodes and not within the same episode this episode.
The animation du jour.
So Hard Hat Men are being kept in an electric cage below, and Starscream is just like, okay, cool, can I kill them now? I really, not doing much. Looking murder, maybe?
Just, sitting with his thumb up his ass the entire time? So they called for help. Megatron, you got any orders for me? Anything maybe you want me to do?
We set up the electric cage,
It would be cool if I could kill these humans. And Megatron's like, okay.
Well, what's weird, Kristen, is Megatron gives the okay to kill the humans here, and then 3 seconds later they actually are part of Megatron's plan again.
He's just galaxy braining this whole thing, Joe. 6-dimensional chess.
So Optimus fires a shot from his ion blaster from over the ravine, which knocks Megatron and Starscream away, and we get Autobots attack, and then 2 seconds later, Autobots regroup!
Not a lot happens here. Again, we just need enough of a brawl to happen for Gears to get snatched up by a jet man.
Optimus proclaims victory after very few lasers were fired,
nice.
And then... So here's where the plan comes into play as Megatron's like, aha, but what about this thing from the Ultimate Doom Part 1? Remember this? as the humans are freed from the electro cage and run basically completely out of the way of the Autobots already.
They are already behind Optimus when he's like, everyone hold fire.
We can't endanger the lives of these humans.
They're just behind him like, we're fine.
And then we get the first of 7 times that Megatron transforms into a gun and falls right into Soundwave's hand as Soundwave starts blasting the motherfuck out of everybody.
I'm very proud of that piece of animation.
So, Kristen, what happens next is Megatron gloats about, compassion for humans is weakness, whatever, and then he produces a gun that is different than the gun on his arm to fire the gun with the same hand with the arm that has the gun at some boulders.
Would you believe I didn't notice?
He uses a completely different gun, Kristen.
He's diversifying. That's good for him. So yeah, he does a boulder attack, which seems slightly indirect, but I guess it's meant to cause chaos.
I guess, because, Megatron says that they need... Here's where Megatron calls out Gears specifically.
Lots of rubble in this episode.
As Megatron transforms into a gun, he fires at Gears' feet, or Soundwave fires Megatron at Gears' feet, which turns into an Animal Crossing pitfall, and Gears falls... Like, Team Rocket just showed up, and Gears just falls in, and now they're gonna grab Pikachu.
There was a reference to that on the Transformers wiki page, too.
Really?
Yes, an image of them looking down to the hole, and it's like, it's Team Rocket.
Starscream rushes over, and he's like, all right, I can't wait to melt down Gears, that sour motherfucker!
And Megatron's like, no! And slaps him again.
It's all part of the plan!
It's like Skywarp or something picks up Gears and just kind of attaches him to his undercarriage. And they,
Woo!
No one goes after him.
Optimus just, he looks up as they're leaving, and he's just like, Gears, and then a transition.
Yeah, they appear to be headed Africa-wards.
Old down Africa way here, as Megatron is showing off his invention in the middle of a jingle jungle jingle, the Solar Needle.
This is another very interesting why of the episode, I guess.
I want to know why Megatron built it in Africa.
Closer to the equator? Probably lower than the equator.
There's also a lot of things going on with time of day as well in this episode, but we won't really get into that, so...
Yeah, Megatron has a big ol' monologue about how the sun is, like, the most powerful source of energy in the universe. The entire time I was like, isn't our sun one of the smallest suns? Aren't there bigger suns out there you could be aiming for, Megatron?
This is the one that's available to him, Kristen, and he can't pull energy from the moon, so he may as well pull it from the sun.
You know what, Joe, you're right, I'm sorry.
Gears is in an electric cage, and Megatron's like, so you're gonna help us, right? And Gears says, fuck off, and he gets null rayed for his trouble.
That's the first time the null ray has happened in quite a while.
The first time the null ray actually does what it's supposed to do, and it's not just a laser mounted to Starscream's arm.
So, Gears gets his boob window.
Megatron roots around in Gears' boob window to...
I was doing kind of a gesture that did not come across on the microphone.
I mean, this is an audio medium, Kristen.
Yeah.
He pulls out a sweet-ass laser disc here, a diskette, and it turns out, Kristen, that this... Megatron did a big old bunch of research on all the Autobots that he apparently had Encyclopedia Autobotica or whatever, and was just like, oh, Gears has a thing that'll help
Control find sun energy.
That'll help me harness the energy of the sun somehow. And apparently also, as soon as this thing is pulled out of him, Gears is like, wow, I feel a lot more jovial now?
I'm in a good mood. Very strange. I feel like this was kind of a weak reason for this plot to happen. Because my first assumption was, when Starscream shorted him out for a few seconds there, that's what messed him up. No, it was very clearly in his sun power harnessing cassette. Which
goes right into the Solar Needle, and Megatron explains that, you probably felt that way because this thing fucked with your personality. Like, very quick one-line hand-waving.
I understand what's going on, obviously.
The Solar Needle fires out here and starts harnessing the energy of the sun within 0 seconds, which, Kristen, I don't know if you know about a little thing called the speed of light.
No, I don't. Kids don't either.
Very true. So no need to think about how it would have taken 8 minutes for that beam to even reach the sun.
Anyway, we start to get earthquakes happening. Not sure what the logic is behind that, but it happens. So we cut to different parts of the world. Joe, I thought they were going to show the Leaning Tower of Pisa fall down.
New York, London, Paris, Munich. Everybody talk about pop music. So, Pisa, Paris, and the Big Apple here. Old Statue of Libby herself.
They couldn't just cut to, Spike and Sparkplug in their kitchen, like, what's going on?
They don't have a house, Kristen. They live at the Ark now.
That's true. Yeah, they live in that cave with the Dinobot.
So I would like to just step back really quick here. So harnessing the energy from the sun starts causing earthquakes to happen literally all over the Earth. What? Huh?
Yeah, because it seems like the sun is really only facing one side of the Earth at a time.
I don't understand. And that's the thing. Like, with the rotation of how... You know how solar panels work, Kristen? They really only can catch a good, 5 hours of prime sun a day, I'm gonna say, or something like that.
Yep.
You can just pull it whenever he wants, I guess.
So, here's the question. Depending on how long this solar needle was on, did he mess up the Earth's rotation so that it was always pointing at the sun?
Oh boy, that would be pretty fucked.
Did something, very bad happen in Australia?
So, we get a transition here after the earthquakes start. Optimus is still...
The cartoon reminds us that we're not astrophysicists.
Optimus is still talking about how they need to rescue Gears here when the earthquakes start. And Bumblebee Kristen blames this on solar flares.
I don't think that's what that is, but...
That's what he says, Kristen, and we get some more rock debris. Another boulder plant starts as...
Yay!
As they all gotta try and avoid the boulders here.
And Optimus, following his good sense for once in his life, is like, you know what? I have a weird feeling that this is Megatron's doing. And it just so happens that they can also follow that feeling straight to Gears.
So Megatron's gloating here that nothing can stand against him, etc., etc. So Starscream just starts backhanding Gears at this point. The cycle of abuse continues. As Starscream is abused, he must abuse that person under him. And he's just like, go fill up the energon cubes! Go, do it!
He's not getting the reaction he wants, really, though, because Gears is like, absolutely. Hey, I got you.
No, be angry about it, fuck.
I just can't be mad at you.
Always happy to oblige, Starscream.
Joe, so much of Gears' subsequent dialogue in this episode sounds weird and sneaky. But I don't think it is.
I don't think so. There will be times where he's just like, hey, Megatron, you're a shitty-ass bucket of bolts, and I hate you, but...
God, I love you.
God, I gotta do whatever you ask me to.
Absolutely. Love to help.
And it does not really make sense why. There's not much of an explanation why Gears is still, it's almost like he's hypnotized, kind of, but he's not really.
There's a whole thing later that we will talk about it when we get there, but I thought the plan happened differently at the end than it actually happened, and I got very confused. So, really good. I can't even think of the word. Just
really good.
Super good.
So Megatron talks about how he's got a surprise for the Autobots when they show up, which is relevant for about 3 seconds, and then...
And apparently no one else knows about.
We get another transition here as Optimus is just like, okay, so I asked Teletran... So Chip Chase told me to ask Teletran when weird things were happening, and...
I should have thought of it myself, but we got there and that's the important thing.
It took 2 seconds, actually, and Teletran said that the sun is going to explode in less than 2 hours.
I think I missed that the first time I watched this. Because that's definitely not okay.
Yeah, they gotta get to Africa in 2 hours, so good thing that they can go at supersonic... Good thing they could drive at supersonic speeds.
Well, I guess after some good recreational boulder dodging, Ironhide shows up to be like, it's probably Megatron, and they're like... Catch up, Ironhide, we know!
And yes, here we learn that Teletran says that the solar needle is in Africa, so Kristen, transform and roll out to Africa.
It hardly has anything to do with anything, but it is very distracting. One of the members of a K-pop group I really like is named Solar, and that is the most often I see that word now is in reference to her, so I just keep getting confused seeing it capitalized.
The solar needle.
Uh-huh.
This is the end of segment 1, by the way, as they transform and roll out, and we get the exact same shot of the Autobots leaving the base that we saw earlier.
It just so happened that direction was also the direct path to Africa.
Toward Africa.
Yeah.
Kristen, you would never guess, but because they reused this shot, Mirage is seen leaving, never seen again. Maybe he was invisible.
Yeah, obviously.
Segment 2 starts at the solar needle here, with the Decepticons and Gears loading energon cubes, and Starscream is even like, Megatron, you kind of feel, I could feel the earth move under my feet, the sky tumbling down. What's going on with that?
Stop doing that. Starscream gets a rumbly in his tumbly, much like Winnie the Pooh.
And Megatron's like, hey, none of your fucking business, that's what's going on.
I mean, science has no place here. Starscream should know that by now. Take those scientist feelings and shove them deep down where they belong.
And 10 seconds after the beginning of segment 2, we get a transition
Ah!
to some zebras.
I feel like it was at this point where it, finally registered with me. Wait, the Decepticons are in Africa? Why?
Yeah, you needed the beginning of The Lion King to tell you, oh no.
I heard the Circle of Life start playing, and I was like, wait a minute.
So the Autobots arrive to the jungle here, and Jazz rightly points out, Kristen, Optimus, we can't drive through trees?
So they start destroying this ecosystem?
For his sass mouth here, Jazz is put on deforestation duty with Sunstreaker for some reason. And they ride on the sides of Optimus's cab here, just melting trees.
Remember when I said in the very first episode it kind of seemed like Transformers was going to have an environmentalist message? What a fool I was.
Whoops-a-daisy.
I was so wrong.
Another transition here. So, Gears comments, Megatron, I should be angry at you because you're a son of a retro rat, but ailerons.
Retro rat.
Retro rat. Retro rat.
Don't even have a guess.
I almost read it wrong because it doesn't look like a real word, because it isn't.
Weird how that turned out to be true.
So, for some reason, Megatron being called a son of a retro rat, Starscream is standing right there.
That's my nickname for him.
You stole my insult, you motherfucker!
No one does that to Starscream.
He gets very upset and fires at Gears, who is 2 feet away from him and Megatron. And once again, Kristen, Megatron slaps at Starscream, which fires his null ray laser against one of the towers of the Solar Needle, which bounces off it. It does a, ping-ponging around here, and then blows everyone up.
He does an Ocelot by accident. And if Ocelot shot himself.
Why did Ocelot never shoot himself in that battle, Kristen?
Because he's too good, Joe.
Very true. Starscream is no Ocelot.
My 2 favorite boys, Ocelot and Starscream.
Gears does a flying headbutt right into Soundwave's chest as well from this explosion, which leads to him tossing an Energon cube directly into one of the electric collection stream kind of things, and some purple lightning happens, and I thought it was going to be a bigger deal, but I guess the energy going back into the energy doesn't really do anything.
That's where it belonged in the first place.
Megatron just says that he's going to kill Starscream if he fucks up again, which is par for the... That's just every other third sentence with Megatron and Starscream.
That's normal. Everyone just tunes that out by now. So I guess Starscream learned his lesson?
And then again, cycle of abuse here. Starscream's like, go fill up more Energon cubes, you Autobot slave, go do it!
And Gears is like, you know what? I like the sound of that. Being a slave is great. Wait.
Or is it?
It's fine.
Didn't
that sound sarcastic?
It was a really weird read, and I'm pretty sure the camera kind of zooms in a bit when he's just when it's I love being a slave, slow zoom. Or do I?
Was that supposed to be an aside that only the audience heard?
I think, he went, the spotlight came down on him for just a moment, and all the other actors froze.
Doesn't matter. We go back to the Autobots, who are still just going so fast, destroying so many trees.
Kristen, this scene is absolutely useless.
I know. I was thinking about this when we started recording. I was like, I remember a whole thing. Because I was like, oh yeah, the thing where Bumblebee is doing his little flipperoonie over Gears in the opening section of the episode. That's really all he does. And I'm like, no. He also tumblebees for no reason.
There's a little ravine or a crevice or something that the Autobots all seem to jump pretty easily. Now, Kristen, one side of the ground is not above one of the other sides. So all of them just kind of glide over there like they got the fucking boots from Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm. Apparently all of the other mini-bots had a perfectly fine time doing this. I don't know, is Bumblebee off balance because Spike isn't in him?
So when Bumblebee hits the other side, of course things start to crumble and he nearly falls off into this chasm of death. But Wheeljack, Kristen, good guy Wheeljack, turns around. No words being exchanged here.
They don't need words, Joe.
No more words. And no more promises. Pulls him out of the crevice, and that's it. Another transition. The Autobots have reached their destination, Kristen.
Oh, wow, okay.
And Cliffjumper says a line with a voice that is definitely not his.
I didn't notice. Here's the fun thing, though. When some stuff happens later, I did see Cliffjumper and think, that's Cliffjumper, right? Look at me go! Season 2.
Cliffjumper wants to get in on the action here, but Bumblebee's like, oh no, Gears could get hurt. And Cliffjumper should have been like, it's Gears. We got 1 million guys. We could stand to lose one of them.
And I thought that Optimus maybe would argue with this. But I also thought he would be a little bit more sensitive about it.
No, Optimus Optimus is in the same boat as Cliffjumper, where it's just like, okay, the sun's gonna explode and we're gonna lose everybody and not just Gears, so if we just lose Gears, I think we'll be good.
I think Gears will understand if we have to shoot him to kill Megatron.
The Autobots all fire on the Solar Needle here, but a force field bounces the blasts back and...
What's the point of this?
So they can't destroy it, obviously!
So they have to have a little argument that amounts to nothing.
So they can have a weird heroic sacrifice moment where...
that 3 of them vie for.
Where Optimus is just like, okay, so we gotta get it from the inside, which means that we need to go directly through the collection point, which means that this is very dangerous and we can't do that. And then Cliffjumper does it anyway and doesn't even go through the collection point, and it turns off.
And this is after Ratchet's like, wait, no.
Anyone who gets close to that, they will die. They will die immediately, and Cliffjumper's just like, fuck this, Scoob, and
well, even after that, Ironhide is like, no, I'll do it.
Well, because Optimus is like, I'll do it. So everybody is all just like, they want to have the power and the glory.
Forever and ever and ever.
Forever and ever, amen.
Vocalizing.
And Cliffjumper just decides that he doesn't want to be part of Simon Zealots, so poor Jerusalem happens as he gets fucking electrocuted. So Cliffjumper wakes up after getting supposedly nearly destroyed.
We get a strange scene of him with his arm... be tangled beautifully in a vine, like a creepy Renaissance painting, contrapposto. And then he's just fine.
Yeah, he wakes up, he's like, where am I? How did I get here? And then he just joins up with the rest of the Autobots as they go charge the Decepticons.
Is it weird that I would have been happier if they did, like, a stinger at the end of the episode where Cliffjumper just, like, wanders over to everyone and is like, guys, where are we?
What was happening?
Did we have a fight?
A weird thing happens with Gears here, Kristen, where he clearly shoves Wheeljack out of the way as they're trying to destroy the Solar Needle. Mm-hmm. And you think, oh, Gears is working for the Decepticons. But then he goes to try to turn it off, or like to get his circuit back from the box.
He just had some kind of beef with Wheeljack that he was getting out of his system there.
But that stopped because I put Skywarp colored Starscream here, but then it turns out to actually just be Starscream, and we get the rare audio error where a line that was supposed to be said by Starscream is said by Skywarp.
Yep. I can't believe I didn't notice that. Again, I read that on the wiki afterwards, so I am aware of it. I don't know, I think every time I see Starscream, I just hear his voice automatically.
Starscream is like, I should have destroyed you when I had the chance, and now I got another chance, so I'm gonna do it right now. Thank you, you're dead.
So, we get a fun scene here where Gears, again, acting kind of sassy again, don't know what's happening. Apparently this is him still finding a loophole into being nice. Says, that's great, Starscream, but you might want to look behind you, bud. I'm just saying.
Starscream's like, you think I'm a fucking idiot? Dude, I'm never gonna fall for that. Ah!
And Bumblebee just drives into the back of his head.
And that's the sound of Starscream getting hit in the back of the head by Bumblebee.
And the sound of him getting backhanded by Megatron.
Laserbeak is ejected here, Kristen, and somehow he fires at Bumblebee, who then tumbles onto his roof and spins out.
He's fine.
Directly into one of the towers.
Is that when it starts to, some of the things start to like crumble and fall over, but there is also, at a point, Optimus tries to be like, you're gonna explode the whole planet, and Megatron's like, shut up!
That's basically what we get to here, because, I mean, Gears still seems like he's having a fun time, but we pan to Optimus and Megatron struggling.
It is very quiet for a little bit there, again. No dialogue, just wrestling.
A lot of, not much going on there until Optimus is finally like, oh yeah, so the sun's gonna explode if you don't turn off the Solar Needle. And I could have sworn Megatron mentioned that, like, taking the energy from the sun was going to make it explode, but Megatron
said that too. I'm not crazy.
But Megatron's like, I don't believe you, Optimus Prime. Get the fuck out of here.
Maybe he just doesn't give a shit. I don't know what his plan is after everything explodes, but, that's up to his discretion.
Segment 2 ends with Optimus being thrown, first off balance by the shakes of the earth, and then by Megatron toward an energy beam. And segment 3 starting with the same shot.
There is a whole thing that I got from the wiki that I'm very proud of this cartoon for, so I'm going to highlight it. Apparently at some point during some of this fighting, it does show that Optimus's ion blaster, is that his thing?
That is his black gun cannon that he uses, yes.
It, disintegrates. And then he doesn't have it for the rest of the episode. He is unarmed.
Which is nice.
Yes. And apparently, one of the, pylon things that gets knocked over, that also stays knocked over for the entire rest of the episode.
Man, whoever was in charge of storyboarding, good job,
They
I
focus
guess?
on some interesting things. Are we really just praising continuity now?
Segment 3 starts. Gears acts of his own free will here, shooting in like the energy tower that Optimus was going to smash into, which I guess lessens the power so he isn't disintegrated.
You know,
I
like
guess.
in a nice way.
Megatron is then brandished by Soundwave again and shoots Gears. And so this happened, Kristen, all this happened, like, is Gears on their side or not? Like,
By this point, I feel like I definitely thought Gears was faking.
Megatron calls for all the Autobots to stand down as he transforms again, as he has his fusion cannon pointed at Optimus, who apparently he's got him, even though Optimus has been shot by the fucking fusion cannon a million times, he's like,
worried
aha!
his aim will be really good this time.
I'm the exact correct number of feet away from Optimus Prime so that he will be blown away and actually killed.
And Optimus is like, don't do it. Save the entire Earth that will be destroyed. And all the Autobots are like, eh.
The needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many as they drop their weapons here.
Great, love it.
Megatron claims victory that the universe is his, and Kristen,
How?
Optimus,
In what way?
potentially overstating things here, says that Megatron, there won't be a universe to rule over after one single star explodes.
There will be a universe somewhere. Stars explode all the time.
There will be potentially many alternate universes as well.
Don't worry about it. So, Gears is told to repair the solar needle, because apparently now they're worried about it being busted in one way or another, not when, you know, pieces are coming off of it. Looking maybe like the sun might explode.
And Gears is just like, I'm happy to, even though I'm actually not happy to.
And Optimus is like, Gears, I order you to stop.
For some reason, only Megatron's commands work here. I think we find out later that it's because you gotta, like, in the form of a question, you got a guy from BioShock, would you kindly him, I guess.
Aw, sinister.
And then you kill Megatron with a golf club.
Yup. So again, my brain was like, is Gears faking to get close to the thing to get his thingamajig back? Isn't that a really interesting question I just asked?
I guess. I mean, he's going to the wrong thing that doesn't have his thingamajig in it, I'm pretty sure. So, because he does try to fix it, I think. I don't know if he gets there close. Either way, Kristen, Ironhide is aghast at this because he's just like, what'd you do to Gears? You turned him nice.
It was at this point where I was like, what happened is they turned him nice and not that he was just straight up being, like, mind controlled somehow. Okay.
And Megatron gives away the entire plan here as well about the chip and about Chip Chase and the solar needle and how this somehow makes Gears a slave. And then my next note, 12 Gears a slave.
Uh-huh. I can't tell if I am, like, disgusted or pretty proud.
Optimus says, time is running out. And Megatron responds, yes, Prime, for you!
Technically, yes, but also, like, for everyone.
For the entire universe, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Starscream relishes the opportunity to blast the shit out of Optimus here, but they hold fire as Ironhide just kind of casually walks up to Optimus and is just like, do you have a plan, Optimus? This is looking kind of bad.
And Optimus is like, I'm so glad you asked. Megatron, may doomed man have a last request.
And honorable question mark Megatron,
Stupid.
or dumbass Megatron,
Stupid.
is like, of course! Come on, you're dead. Nothing you could do can stop this now, of course.
So Optimus learns the riddle, solves the riddle that is Gears, and says, Gears, do me a favor. Can you destroy that shit?
And Gears is like, oh, you betcha!
Wah!
And it starts blowing up.
And then they just start to fight again.
Yeah! Bumblebee rejoices that Gears is back on their side, I guess. And this is enough to turn the tide for another robot fight. And
The allegiance of one mini-bot was enough to completely change things.
I put in my notes here that Ratchet does a Liu Kang flying kick to Thundercracker.
Ratchet does some kicking this episode, because he also ends up doing a soccer ball kick a boulder out of a way.
Ratchet does two very cool things and two very weird and incorrect things this episode.
Yeah.
Skywarp also gets a Shoryuken from Wheeljack, apparently. He'd been studying that. Just saw a Street Fighter cabinet, was just like, I could do that.
Yeah, totally.
And Starscream gets both speared and giant swung by Gears into Soundwave, which is apparently enough for Soundwave to be like, we gotta get out of here.
It's getting hit right in the solar plexus. Joe, is it strange that anytime fighting game moves come up, I just hear in the Homestar Runner voice in my head. The pipes are broken!
You should. That's correct. That is the correct thing to do.
Yeah, there's no other version of that should come to my mind first.
Optimus and Megatron fight some more as the Decepticons are running away, and Optimus is even like, look, your men have abandoned you. Give up, Megatron. Turn off the Solar Needle. And Megatron says he'll destroy the universe before turning off the Solar Needle, which is actually what's apparently at stake here, so...
That's an interesting position to take also. Apparently he's just really mad at the Decepticons for bailing.
So Megatron gets punted by Optimus here, like literally a lot of punting going on in this episode too.
What is his name? Joe Perry, who wrote this episode?
Larry Parr, I think.
Larry Parr, yeah. Isn't Joe Perry a musician?
Joe Perry's the guitarist for Aerosmith.
Oh my god, I was gonna guess Aerosmith.
And he makes hot sauce that apparently sucks.
That's great. Danny DeVito makes limoncello. We have a picture of his limoncello advertisement on our fridge.
As you should. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, maybe he's just a big Kick fan.
A weird thing happens here, Kristen, where Megatron gets punted, but can use the momentum to turn that into flight. So it doesn't... He could just do that whenever. So if he ever gets thrown by Optimus into a lake again, he could have just avoided it by flying.
By skipping like a stone. And then flying off into the atmosphere. Like that lawnmower from that vine.
So, Kristen, there is no time to catch the Decepticons here. The sun is going to explode in less than 1 minute. Optimus with that, really, pinpoint accuracy, or he just wants this to be fucking over and done with.
Joe, I hate to be pedantic again so close to the end of this episode.
Yes.
But I do also wonder what is going on with the sun that is making it 1 minute until it explodes. Because as you know from elementary school science class, stars have different stages of exploding, and they all take quite a while.
It did not turn into a red giant or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Which I think would definitely probably destroy the Earth.
I was going to say, I believe that they get big enough that I think the Earth would be consumed by the sun.
Yes,
if
I
it turned
believe
into
so.
a red giant.
Because then it expands first and then contracts into a white dwarf.
So, Kristen, Science Guys, Wheeljack, and Ratchet are ordered to do something, but one of the towers nearly falls on Wheeljack, so we're off to a good start.
Yes, so this is where Ratchet does his other very cool Chie kick. And... kicks a rock like a soccer ball into the pillar.
Which knocks it aside so it does not crush Wheeljack. And Optimus tears a panel away. So, Kristen, all they need to do is reverse the equilibrium.
Yeah.
Whatever to stop this. And it happens by removing a single wire. And
it's always a single wire, isn't it?
The problem here is, Kristen, Wheeljack is like, it's this wire. And Ratchet is like, you're a dumbass. It's this wire.
Who would you go with?
Wheeljack.
I think I would go with Reg. I saw Wheeljack's own gun explode in his face.
That is true.
I think he has good intentions, but his instincts are not great.
Well, Kristen, Optimus rips out the wire that Wheeljack was pointing to, and wouldn't you know it, it was the correct one.
Wow.
So, Ratchet in this episode said that a guy would die if he got too close to that force field thing, and he didn't. And he nearly destroyed the universe by pointing at the wrong wire.
Who's the Wheeljack now?
The day is saved. The sun is back as it should be. It takes 0 seconds after the wire is pulled here. All that remains is destroying the Solar Needle here, Kristen. And Gears is like, ooh, Optimus, don't want to, ruffle any feathers here or anything, but there is actually one other thing we need to do before we destroy the Solar Needle, and that is to get me my chip back, please.
So Optimus is going to give it to Gears because, duh, it's part of him. It belongs to him. And Trailbreaker is like,
Trailbreaker apparently took a vote for everybody, and
just really quick, he whispered in everyone's ear, like, I think I like Gears better when he's nice.
And he stops Optimus and is just like, ooh, can you not, actually? And Optimus is just like, you know what, I think you might be right. And I don't know if any of this is a joke, Kristen.
They really don't make it clear enough. Gears is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you guys if you don't give it back to me. Thank you so much.
And everyone laughs and laughs like it's a joke. And the chip gets put back in, and he is a sour Susan immediately here, complaining about jungle humidity. That's our Gears. And Kristen, the episode doesn't end there.
No. Why do they keep doing this?
That seems like such a natural end to the episode.
I know.
So Optimus is just like, okay, now we gotta destroy the Solar Needle. And Gears continues complaining, being like, I suppose you want me to do it too. And Optimus is like, if you don't mind, I guess.
So they, like, set up, I don't know, some fucking robot TNT or something, and he uses one of those big plunger things. I think Optimus is like, alright, go ahead. And Gears is like, it's probably not going to work anyway.
And then it does, and Gears spends the entire runtime of the rest of the episode complaining, and the Autobots just leave him behind.
Alright, later, idiot. Does he even know what country he's in? Will he be able to get home?
And Kristen, that was changing gears!
This was a fucking weird episode.
So, alright, a lot of weird things to think about here. So, it did not occur to me, your perspective of this, of Gears playing nice with the Decepticons until he was able to potentially turn on them, did not cross my mind at all.
Like, it really just seems like Gears turned into a doormat.
I guess, which, like, who can't even choose between...
Gears turned nice does not accurately describe what happens in this episode.
No, it doesn't, because it's very clear that he still has the same Gears mind buried beneath... Like, because he calls Megatron a retro rat, and he's, you know, calling him a fucking bucket of bullets and shit like that, and being not angry necessarily, but very clear that he knows that he's doing the wrong thing, but cannot stop himself from doing the wrong thing.
Like, he was definitely less hypnotized than Sparkplug was.
It begs the... I don't know how to classify this, because it's not him being... Because that's the
Bad
thing.
hypnotism.
If he was, like, making snide comments under his breath about the shit going on, I could be like, oh, he's just playing along. But no, he's telling Megatron to his face that he hates his guts. As this
Megatron's just happy that he's doing what he's told, so he lets it slide.
Yes, so I don't know. I don't get it. I don't.
Isn't it really frustrating? There's kind of no way for us to sum up any part of this episode. I can't think of anything else to say.
Now's the point in the evening when we'll list off all of the fun contact things, where you can find us. You can follow us on the Twitter machine at cwtapod. You can follow me at Octopus, which is AWKTAPUS.
You can follow me at Marina Kazam on Twitter. That is Marina_KAZAM.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on SoundCloud, on Stitcher Radio, on the YouTube even. Leave a rating, give a review, do whatever you feel like. You can also drop us a line, cwtapod@gmail.com. You can tell us all about how a single star being destroyed threatens the entire universe, and any chips you might have inside you that can make you a grumpy goose.
That's just me when I'm hangry. And you can check out my podcast solo project, ASMR Relationships, the podcast equivalent of listening to gossip that has nothing to do with you. You can find a link to it in the episode notes. Follow it on Twitter at Reddit Gossip. Give it a listen. It's on YouTube too.
Next time will be City of Steel, which I think is also the name.
Isn't that Pittsburgh?
Well, no, Kristen, because the City of Steel in this scenario is New York.
No, it's not.
They should have called it Big Apple.
Right?
Shenanigans will ensue.
What the fuck are we doing in New York?
Well, Can't We Talk About Podcast? My name is Joe.
I'm Kristen.
And join us next time when we build a city out of steel, which would be very gray.
Checks in the mail.